And this is just like really annoying, right? Like he's that was really, really good actually. Like he got so much pressure down there just off one grapple. Hello guys, what is going on? My name is Coach Hayes and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be reviewing Ball, GDH, God Hands, the European Prodigy. Potentially the best ball in Europe. Let's find out. We have reviewed Haddy's ball on the channel and Haddy performed very well on the ball. So I'm interested to see how ball performs here as well. If you are enjoying my content, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like on the video and maybe even consider subscribing. We do these reviews a lot, so if you also want to let me know in the comments who you'd like me to review next, go ahead and drop me a comment. Let's get into this. So, as we always do when we come into these reviews, we always break down the compositions first. We like to have a look at kind of like who's on each of the teams, like kind of figure out who's who. See if one of the teams is stacked or not. Obviously, this is a ranked game. And I'm sure you're probably noticing a lot of these accounts in the game already. This is looking like a pretty stacked game. So the first thing we'll do is we'll break down Team 2. Obviously, we have the one and only Ball playing the ball. I don't dance. I believe this is White Noise, a European contenders player. Plays for... well, what's the team? Fuck. Oh, I forgot the team's name. I'm such an idiot. Oblivion. Something Oblivion. Exo Oblivion. I'm actually a clown. So obviously, White Noise playing for Ex Oblivion. Oblivioni, however you want to pronounce it. We got Pale Waves on the support playing the Zen. I believe this is one of the NA players called Reckless Kane. I'm not sure how he likes to be called, but anyway. We got Baptiste, and we have on the DPS line. This DPS line is looking kind of scary, to be honest with you. We got Device, Shockwave playing the McCree, and then we have Kevster on the Tracer. I don't know how many accounts Kevster has now. It's getting out of hand. Kevster just he seems to have every like 7 or 8 accounts now. It's kind of silly. So anyway, Team 2 looking pretty stacked. A lot of contenders players and a lot of high level players. Obviously this is a high rated game. Team 1, we have Naga on the DPS playing the McCree. Danye, believe he kind of retired from Overwatch. He was obviously previous Overwatch League player. Naga on the McCree, Danye on the Ashe. Tank line, we have Fourth, who I believe is Vestola. He's playing the Sigma, and then we got XI Major on the Hog. Provide on the support, and then I'm not sure who this Lucio player is. The Team 2 running with Ball, Orisa, McCree Tracer, Zen Bap. Team 2 running with a more pokey composition, Hog, Sig, Ashe McCree, Ball Lucio. So one of the things I want to bring to everybody's attention first is how Ball figures out his playstyle and how he can play on the ball here, because an important thing for you to do is you need to know how aggressive you can be. So the way you can do that is determining how much CC the enemy has. So I assume Ball is going to be playing dependent on what kind of CC he sees the enemy has. Okay, he's waiting for the spot. I mean, yeah, the reason this is so good is because he can just pretty much power drive any position he wants. And you see that he's got 2 seconds left on his grapple, so he's going to be able to get away relatively easy here as well. So he slams on the Ashe there on the high ground, takes quite a lot of damage, uses shield. I believe he only got the 1 proc on the shield, so only gets 100 HP from that shield. Playing behind. The reason he's playing behind here for the boop is because he wants to boop the enemies in, obviously dislodging them out of position so that his team can then follow up. I think the ideal situation here is imagine he boops a Sigma in. The Sigma's going to have to use shift instantly. Maybe his McCree can get a stun down. In general, like the enemies are generally not going to be looking behind, so he's going to get forced out by CC a lot less when he's coming from behind. Uses grapple. He still has no shield, so he's kind of playing passively here, which is good. Uses shield. Does end up getting stunned there. And this is a problem with when you're playing the ball versus compositions like Brig. All it takes is one break stun and you're really in trouble playing the ball. So he's coming left side. I want to see how he gets into position here. Because this is not an easy comp to play against, right? Like, he has to worry about Brig Stun. He has to worry about Hog Hook. He has to worry about McCree Flashbang. There's a lot of CC available on Team 1. So, he is really going to have a tough time. And look, you can see Danye's looking for him. And Danye's still looking for him. He sees the Hog has used his... hook. You can tell he's like being very defensive here, because if he goes to the Brig in the backline, he has to worry about, again, like I said, a Brig stun, McCree stun. So he's playing quite passively here. And this is the second Boop he's gone for onto the Sigma. He does take the Sigma down. And, you know, I can feel the pain here when you're playing Sigma of like getting booped by the ball. You get booped out of position, you get your shift force instantly, and then you're in trouble. And Kev's is just popping off, dude. Look, I mean, he's killing everybody. What is that? What the? Okay. Just Kevster things. How many kill? 4? I want to see how Kevster does this year in Overwatch League, actually. So again, he's coming back to this spot. I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen this spot. Really nice, just for you're able to get a power driver on anyone you really like. Now, one thing that a lot of you guys can learn from when you're playing, one thing a lot of you guys can learn from when you're playing the ball is like, you need to sync your engages with when your team can actually see. So, let's watch this, right? Let's see if his team are in position to follow up on this when he goes in. I mean, they're all looking at him, right? They're all looking at him, so there's no way he's going to get any value from this. They all know what's happening. Danye sees him. The Hog is already looking at him. Naga's trying to triangulate his position. And so by the time he comes down, there's no way he can kind of get any value there. And he's just trying to get out here. Just trying to get out. He goes for the backwards boop. This is a nice tech where you kind of like get the fireball into the wall, cancel the fireball, and then fireball back and boot people away from you. But he doesn't quite get the fireball there. Notice how he maintained his grapple there, because he didn't get too much value from the first grapple. But he held on to it because he knew he could continuously get value from there. I'm going to quickly change so I can just get back in shorter intervals. Alright, so we've seen this bit. Still has the grapple. Just wailing away. And the other thing about this grapple position is like, he's maybe going to get a boop here. If someone walks out of position, he can still get a boop in there. So this is like a super high value grapple spot, because you can just keep repeating this boop. And maybe you can, this is like good damage down. You're harder to hit. And he gets a nice boop on the Ashe, a follow-up from Kevster, and then traps Naga in the room, and Naga has no CC, so there's no way Naga survives. Oh, he's looking for the spawn camp. I love it. He's looking for the spawn camp. Who's he gonna go for? Hog or Brig? He's gonna go for Hog. Here we go. He gets him. I love it. And Naga's like, hang on, what's the ball doing in my spawn? So he boops the Hog off. Cheeky little boop spot. One of the key things when you're playing the ball is you need to be smart about like which positions you're holding, because the worst thing that can happen is they force you out. You want to be in a position where you can just like go for either a good boop, or you have like access to the backline, as in like booping the backline through. This position here is really nice for him because like if anyone comes through main, he has a good boop spot onto anyone and he can boop them into the well. So you can see how he's trying to play around these like boop spots. Unfortunately for him, none of the enemy team are coming to main, so he's not going to be able to get any of those boops through main. And this Brig obviously is playing well. Like Brig's job in this comp is just to look at the ball and deny the ball from getting any value. Anytime the ball goes in, Brig bashing him. Nice little boop there. He tries to boop him away from the drone. And obviously because Kevs has stuck him, he had no shield, so maybe there's a follow-up there. So just a small thing, but he's trying to like just displace him there with the grapple. Oh, there's no surviving that one, buddy. So he uses his grapple to come in. I'm not sure if he was expecting people to be in this area here and he's trying to go for a boop into the pit. But he used his grapple quite early there. I'm surprised he used it so early. And then because he's used his power driver, there's no way he can get out here. So, slight misplay. I think what he could have done here is like actually scouted beforehand. Rolled in, seen that the enemies are kind of not in this area, and then rolled and maybe gone for this like the boop and scoop from behind. But the boop and scoop is also going to be tough because they have so much CC. Tracer contesting him. He holds his grapple again and goes for like the boot back on Tracer. Because Tracer's now holding left side, like he wanted to ideally go left side, right? He wants to go left side and start coming behind so he can go for like boops and pressure from behind. Because if he goes from the front, again, he's going to get CC'd, he's going to get stunned. That's why he's going to have a tough time going from the front. So he's now switched to the right side because the Tracer was contesting left. But again, he's going to have such a tough time here. He's literally just trying to avoid. This is smart though, he's playing the point here. He's playing the point and they actually just cap. So they've zoned them off the point here. This mines have basically controlled this window here. This kind of doorway here. So that the enemy Rissa can't walk in. Boops Danny out. Boops Naga out of position with the high noon. And you guys notice how he's going for these fast engages. He's not committing with a power driver. He's mostly just going for boops. Because if he takes long power drivers, it's where he can get CC chained. It's where he can get stunned by McCree. It's where he can get Brig stunned. So he's doing these fast engages, and he's just playing for pressure with the grapple instead of going for like hard engages, hard commits with power driver. He's just being a nuisance here with the grapple. I can break this down a little more slowly here so you guys can see this. So his team have capped point. He got pressured quite low. Let's go all the way back actually. So we use mines on point. I'm going to slow this down. Sees the Tracers on the other side. Right now he's focusing on controlling point. He's playing this cover here to avoid taking any damage from the Kree or anyone else. He's only showing himself to the Orisa here. Putting pressure on the Orisa, shooting the Orisa's head, fairly straightforward. Grapples on the spot over there. And, you know, this might look like very straightforward, but, you know, this guy has thousands, I'm not sure about thousands, but he has a lot of hours on the ball. So, like, his grapples are almost, like, perfect every time. Like, he knows exactly the distance to grapple to get that boop. And so it looks really seamless here when he grapples the wall, boops through. Not sure if Brig had stun or not. She could have potentially stunned him, but obviously this is slow down 0.25. So comes behind again, goes for a really quick boop, holds the fireball, sees the BAP, goes for the BAP. BAP uses drone, so there's no point in him staying there, right? He doesn't need to stay here and take prolonged damage. Honestly, when you're shooting this ball, one thing you need to analyze is how many people are around me. So for example, if Ball came out here and started shooting Naga, is he going to deal more damage than he's dealing to the enemies? And the answer is most definitely no, right? He's playing a massive character with a huge hitbox. Four characters around him, he is going to be the one taking a lot more damage here. So one of the things you have to understand when you're playing the Ball is like when to shoot and how aggressive to be. He knows that there's 4 people here around him. He's going to take more damage than it's worth to shoot, so he's not going to shoot here. He knows that he just wants to get out straight away. He uses shields, and he disengages. And again, one thing you'll notice is that his team still have control of the point. His team still have control of this point. So there's no real reason for him to go inside here right now. His team have control of the point. His Ashe is in a good position. I don't know what the hell is going on with this replay view, but that is honestly terrifying. His Ashe is in a good position. His BAP's in a good position. His Sig's in a good position. And he's just playing the objective here. There's no reason for him to go in. He goes in. Again, maintaining the power driver, getting more damage down on the Orisa. He gets quite low, so he has to back off here. Goes for the Mega. And Megas are a big part of why... Megas are a big resource for Ball. Because obviously if he goes back to the team, it's going to take him so long. So he has so much mobility, he's going to go for Megas a lot of the time. I'll go back here slightly. So he grapples. Believe he's trying to look for a boop on the Orisa here. Not sure about that power driver. Or the shield, actually. Did he think that Sig was okay, I think he's looking for the BAP. Looking for the enemy BAP there. I'm not sure what happened there. Actually. Yeah, he's looking for BAP. Okay, yeah, he's looking for a BAP. See how he's just trying to avoid this McCree? Because McCree is... Again, he gets CC'd by the McCree or the Brig, he's probably dead. So he does need to be super careful there. And to be honest with you, this is the one thing a lot of people will probably struggle with on Ball, is understanding how you can play based on what the enemy composition has. So like, the enemy composition have a lot of CC, so when the enemy composition have a lot of CC, he needs to play a lot more defensive and kind of have like quick and fast engages instead of prolonged engages and like hard engages where he's using power drive. So he's mostly just using his grapple here for damage. He's not actually power driving in because he knows that he's going to get hard CC down and die. Okay, he sees the Orisa in main. You know what he's going for. He's going for the boop. Playing this angle here because he's only getting shot by Orisa. He's avoiding the line of sight of the BAP. Nice little trick here. Gets the boop on the Orisa. Goodbye, Orisa. Gotta feel really bad playing the Orisa there. He's afraid of the Brig. And this, you know, he's just being a nuisance here. Just being an absolute nuisance. Brig's now looking at him, so he goes back. He's just, again, he's playing around this position, right? He's probably going to get another boop on the Brig here. If Brig's not aware, he's going to get booped in. Enemy Brig is using Rally. Does go for the boop there. Again, he maintains that grapple. He has a really good like understanding of like what grapple spots he can play from, where he can look for these environmentals, and most high level ball players will have this. But it's still impressive to see. So again, he's playing behind them, looking for that same boop, same environmental pressure. And as long as he survives and keeps booping and pressuring the enemies, he's drawing good. He's like drawing a lot of aggro from the enemies, and eventually they get it. They win the point. Pretty clean. Hey, what's up, David? Why am I reviewing the ball? Why am I reviewing ball instead of me, the GOAT? You know what, Dan? Send me some replay codes. I'll review you. Dan, I remember seeing your Winston. Your Winston's actually was clean when we trialed you back in Raw. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was back in Raw. It was one of the better Winstons we'd seen. Okay, focus on the game. So, composition looking very, very similar from Team 2. He's running ball, again running ball Sig, Zen Bap, Ash Tracer still. Team 1 are running now double shield, Orisa Sigma, Brig Bap, Tracer McCree. So still the same CC threat that Ball has to deal with here on the ball. So we're probably going to see him play the similar style here, where he's kind of like just making these quick engages with the grapple, and not committing too hard with any boobs, with any power drivers. Again, you notice how he's always going from behind. If he goes from the front, it's so much easier for the enemies to scout him out and CC him down. So he's playing on these side angles where he's forcing the enemies to turn around, and he's making it harder. No way he's going to hit the shot. That was such a hard shot to hit. He stunned him through the wooden railings, the wooden platform. So Naga's aware of him. Naga's also aware of Kevster. Ball is aware. The Brig is aware of him, so he gets stunned, CC'd in, instantly pops that shield. When he's around, I think he got 3-man shield there. Let's have a look. So he gets a 2-man shield, but he kind of gets the shield forced out here. I assume we're going to see him play kind of defensive now that his shield is down. Shooting from a distance, has the Mega to fall back to if he needs it. I think, yeah, they're just going to cap point. So his capping point, he sees the Sigma coming. I believe he's going for a double boot here, actually. I think he's going for a double boot there. Keeps hold of the grapple, comes back around, gets his fireball, hits the Brig and the Orisa with that, forces Fortify, forces Brig stun, and backs off to this position. Again, he's always backing off these positions behind. And again, this is a nice little spot where you can just avoid any line of sight on their team, right? He's like hiding behind his cover here. Gets the drone, comes in for the boop. Sees that the enemies are coming towards him. Okay, he goes for a power drive. Unfortunately, he doesn't get anything with the power drive because the shield was pretty much blocking both sides of the power drive there. The reason he goes for the power drive here is because he has quite a lot of follow-up from his team, right? If we look at this, his Sig is here, his Tracer is here, and he doesn't see the enemy McCree. So like this is not a whole lot of damage, to be honest with you. Like it's a little bit of damage, but he should be able to get his shield off. He should be able to get off a stun here and maybe get some good damage off the power driver. He doesn't actually have shield, my mistake. Oh, gets a lot of damage taken there. It was a nice Orisa pull from XI Major there. And you can kind of see, like, in situations where it's like close range and the Brig is in there, it is quite hard for him to get in and have value when the Brig is like diligent with like looking at his position. Brig, if you if you don't know, Brig is one of the hardest counters to Wrecking Ball. Sees quite a lot of his teammates are getting taken down. He has no shield. He goes for a boop onto the Brig. Keeps hold of the grapple here. This is one way that you can consistently get back inside as well. Because if you think about it, he's just gotten out of here with the same grapple. So he knows there's no way he's going to slam into the wall here, right? He's going to be able to get back through here and potentially get more damage with his boop. Saving his grapple cooldown. He actually lets go of it. I'm surprised he let go. I thought... Oh no, he still has Fireball. Boops the Orisa, gets Sprig stunned. He had no shield there. He probably could have waited a little bit for shield. But the problem is, like, his team don't have a whole lot of pressure on this point, so it's kind of just him and Kevster pressuring there. And in an isolated 3v2, they're not going to win that versus double shield and Brig. Wow. Taking so much damage there. Alright, so let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4 of his teammates are in. He sees the Sigma's getting pressured. He sees the BAP is out of position. Goes for a boop and scoop. Boop and scoop, if you're not aware of what that is, it's where you boop them with the grapple, and then you go for the instant power drive. Forces the drone here, and then gets himself out. But does take a lot of damage on the way out. Getting close to his mines here. He's definitely had a tough time being effective here in these fights on point, because no one's really given him a boop. Everyone is playing very well around like these environmental kills. You can see the enemy Sig is playing around it. You can see the enemy Brig is playing around it. And the Orisa, obviously, she has Fortify, so it's not likely she's going to get booped when she's playing in those corners. So he is definitely struggling here. And this is just like really annoying, right? Like he's that was really, really good actually. Like he got so much pressure down there just off one grapple. He hears the McCree to his right, so obviously he doesn't want to push the McCree. He's just going to get stunned, right clicked, and take a lot of damage. He goes for boops onto the Orisa. Now what does this boop achieve? This boop displaces their Orisa out of position to potentially leave their Zen to Discord, to potentially leave their BAP to headshot, to potentially leave his Ashe to headshot. Booping this Orisa away from the shield is huge value, because it just allows his team to be able to get Discords, to be able to maybe land a headshot. You'd be surprised how quickly you die in high elo with such good players like this in the game. So really good boop there to displace. Maintains the grapple. Avoids line of sight to make it hard to know where he's coming from. Comes back around this side, gets a boop onto the Sig, just displacing the Sig. And decides to switch back around to this final spot. Goes for one more boop onto the enemy Sig. And a last boop onto the Orisa, booping her out of the shield. Again, all it takes here is one Ashe headshot and one Discord, and this Orisa dies. So this was a super, like, really, really high value grapple. And, like, this grapple was so effective because the enemy tanks chose to play out in this position. If the enemy tanks had played inside here, this is where he's going to really struggle to go for these boops. Because this is where Brig can stun very easily. This is where he's not going to be able to get these easy boops because he's going to take a lot of damage around this point. And he doesn't have as much space to work with on this point. Goes for the power drive there. So he has mines. He uses mines on the point. Goes to the power drive. Gets spooked by the Brig. The way he gets the power drive there is just walking off the edge and then instantly slamming the power drive to make sure that he gets that power drive. And obviously when he's looking in a certain direction, his power drive is naturally going to orient itself towards that direction he's looking. Danny's in a pretty funky spot there on top. Oh, this is going to be bad. Goodbye, Orisa. Oh, he gets the Brig as well. Oh, man. And that's what he's been looking for this whole time, right? This whole time on this point, he's been looking for those boops. All it takes is one slip up from the enemy team, and he's going to make value from these boops. A lot happened there. I'm going to go slow. So he gets the boop. Right, let's go back. Let's go back here so you guys can enjoy this. Gets booped off. Orisa's making a rotation. She's also very low, so she's playing on this corner. Comes in. Don't know if she had Fortify or not. Doesn't look like she had Fortify. Maintains his grapple. And does a full 360 and boops the Brig back off. For some reason, he doesn't get kill credit there. Sig stole the kill credit. I think because Sig's orb's kind of like... When you throw off an orb on Sig, it does slightly change the enemy's position. So I wonder if like the Sig orb hit the Brig as she was going off, and he got the kill credit there. Finally finishes the grapple off with a nice boop onto the Sigma. Goes for the melee at the end, shoots, rolls close because obviously he's gonna be much faster, and melees to avoid giving the Sigma any shield. That was a really satisfying play to watch. Like, he had a lot of impact there. And he finishes the BAP off. So, you can see all it takes when you're playing on maps like this, where he can get so much value, is all it takes is one environmental, one grapple changes the whole course of the fight, because obviously he gets those environmental kills. So he had massive impact in this fight. Mostly through that one grapple. And he's waiting this spot for one reason, so that if the enemies try and rotate across like this, he's going to go for boobs. And so he's basically just forced the enemy Orisa to fortify because of this rotation. There's something in my eye. And you can see he's still playing in positions where he's looking for those environmentals. Like, he's still playing in a spot, because this is the best spot for him to boot people off the edge again. Like, if he comes from this direction, he can boot people from inside here, but you can also boot people standing on the outside here. Almost boops the Sig. Goes for the wall tech there, where he jumps. He rolls into the wall, presses the S key and the space key, and holds the space key, and then he manages to get his power driver. Neat little tech there. Most balls can do that tech, but it's still good to see that tech being used. Using the natural cover here really nicely as well, just to avoid taking any damage from the Kree, and just avoiding line of sight from the Kree. He is quite low, so he's playing defensively there. Yeah, he only has 100 HP. He doesn't really have the opportunity to get a good shield either, because the enemies aren't clumped. So he does end up dying there. Alright, let's go back. And one thing to note about ball is, like, you're going to come back to the fight incredibly quickly. So, like, a ball pick is, like, not even that impactful, really, because of how quickly he comes back. So his team have 2 picks. His BAP is using window on the high ground. He sees an opportunity where he can use mines on point. And this might just be a free cap for them. It's looking like it's going to be a free cap. Goes for the boop onto the Sig. Sig is no way he's Sig surviving. Goes for the slam because he knows there's no one around, so he can go for that CC. He's not worried about getting Brig stunned here because the Brig is not in the area, right? And the McCree is also not in the area. So he has good awareness of, like, where the enemy CC threats are, and he plays accordingly. Like you saw before, when the enemies are clumped together, the Brig is close together, the McCree is close together, he's not going for those power drives. But in these situations where he sees the Brig and the McCree are not in the area, he's available to go for those power drives. Oh, he almost got the double boop. That really would have been satisfying to see that. Maintaining the grapple, he uses shield to get out. Goes straight for that mega. Not someone he wants to see on the mega. He sees the McCree there. So he used one ult, and he got a lot of pressure and time on the point there. Like, he basically denied the enemy like 30 or 40% there with his mines. Maybe a bit less, maybe like 30%. So he identified pretty nicely, like, kind of how many people were available in that fight, and then he uses mines. He thinks he can cap the point, and he does manage to cap the point. Enemy McCree is flanking behind. Naga's on a mission. So he has to touch the point here, so he goes forward. Nice, really nice dodge there on the Sig Rock. Just like he being aware of like the enemy's abilities, and like dodging that Sig Rock. Because obviously, if he dodges it, he's not going to take anywhere near as much damage. But his main job right here is just to contest payload and try and hope that his team are going to survive here. Again, he does go for the double boop. Boops the BAP off the edge. Wow, that's a really nice grapple spot. Because he gets a 2-in spot with this 2-in-1 spot with this grapple. If we look, it almost boops the Sig off, boops the BAP off when he's jumping through the window, maintaining the grapple, and just repeating that fireball every single time to try and look for those environmentals. And even if he doesn't get environmentals here, he's still getting so much pressure with this damage from the boop. The double boop is still in the game, Tesla. I've seen him double boop. Any advice on how to eyeball grapple shot? Like how far away from the doorway should you grapple? I'm not sure what you mean by that, to be honest with you. Enemy McCree is flanking right side. And this is just like good positional like recognition from him. Like he's identifying that the enemy brig is out of position here trying to touch the point. And so he instantly kind of like sees that brig and goes for the brig. Yeah, look, he's seen the brig's trying to touch. Brig is not the tank she used to be. She is a lot more squishy now. So he instantly goes for that brig. Drops the mines on the point. Because Brig's barrier's down, she's eventually going to fall. Enemy Orissa's had to use Fortify. They're in a really tough time because they're kind of walking into a trap here. Their Ashe is in a really good spot on top. They're in a situation where they have to touch the payload, but you can see here he's looking for these boops and pressures. Boops them into his mines here. This is something that we haven't seen him do too much here, but I've seen in a lot of his videos. He's doing this a lot, right? Like he gets mines down, he wants to then reposition so he can boot people into the mines. And this is something that a lot of people can take away from this is like when you put mines down, reposition yourself and try and boot people into your mines for extra pressure. That's the idea he was going for with this boop, right? He comes back around main. He's not shooting them from the front. He's going behind them and then trying to like send them into that minefield. And he does so much damage there to... Does so much damage there to the Orisa. And that's it. 100% a map where you expect to see Ball win and get a lot of these environmental kills. I'm impressed by the like one of the things that I find so difficult on Ball is like being able to play when the enemy composition is like really difficult for you. The enemy composition has a lot of CC, so it's still impressive to find him get value on the Ball here when the enemy has so much CC. And one thing, if anyone watching this can learn from this, I would say is like when you're playing Ball, you have to recognize how much CC the enemy has and kind of play according to that. If the enemy has a lot of CC, play similar to how we played here. Go for these kind of like quick engages where you're looking to go for grapple pressure and looking for environmentals. Obviously, if the map doesn't allow for environmentals, just try and boop and displace the enemies and stay alive. You have to be hyper aware of where the enemy CC characters are, where the McCree is, where the Brig is. and pay attention to their positioning. He had a good idea. He had a good way of kind of like recognizing where they were, and then if he saw the McCree and Brig were not in position, he was going for these grapples. He was going for these pile drives where he would like take long engages. But yeah, obviously really solid play there from Ball. And I believe he's actually started streaming a lot more, so if you guys want to go check him out, go ahead and go over on twitch.tv. I think it's like, might be Ball GDH, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, you can search him up on Twitch, and I'm sure you're about to find him. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We have done another Ball, which was Hadi in the past, so if you want to go and also have a look at that video, it'll be up on my YouTube. If you guys did enjoy this video, I'd really appreciate if you could drop a like and maybe consider subscribing. It would help me up a lot. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.